Welcome to Auditory Precision. I'm going to be doing a follow-up on our Lybrinth system to basically have a close-up of the poster that we are utilizing so you can see it a little bit better. A couple things that we went over is that the Lybrinth system is the vestibular system and the cochlea. And if we're only talking about the vestibular system, we're only talking about balance. And what we talked about taking place in here is what's called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, which is really the most common vertigo when we talk about it. And what takes place here is that I have three semicircular canals, and these help me make head movements without basically falling over. It allows me to shake my head no, nod my head yes, or move my head from shoulder to shoulder, and you'll actually see that they're actually in that direction. Now, how that works is that I have a gelatin layer here where these otoliths will sit on top. And these otoliths are calcified rocks, if you will. Some people call them crystals. But they will basically move and then go back into position. So when I'm making a head movement, I don't continue in that movement and fall over. What happens is the older otoliths will fall off and disintegrate as new ones are made. But if I have a healthy otolith that falls off prematurely, I can do something just as simplistic as looking down to tie my shoe, and it can go into one of the semicircular canals, causing nystagmus, which is eye shaking or twitching, and some pretty severe vertigo or dizziness. Now, the one thing is that we can utilize the Epley maneuver, which I talked about in video 1. It should be done with a professional. But nonetheless, this will eventually dissolve. And again, it's benign, so it's not deadly. Now, what takes place with the whole system is something that is more chronic called Meniere's disease. Now, Meniere's disease also hinders the cochlea, and so that's why hearing loss is involved with Meniere's disease, but not benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. So the stapes, which is an ossicle in our middle ear, will punch through the oval window, sending a wave through the scala vestibuli, which will go all the way around to the apex and come all the way down through the scala tympani, this bottom canal. And what happens is it moves the riser membrane and, more importantly, the basilar membrane. And what that does is it moves what's in the scala media, the organ of Corti, probably the most important part of the cochlea. And what happens here is when this moves, the tectoral plate will move across my hair cells and play them like a violin, so the sound can get turned into a chemical signal that will get to my auditory cortex. But what happens is the stria vascularis, which is the wall here, will produce a very unique fluid only found in this middle channel called endolymph. And it'll produce so much of it that my membranes won't really move when I get a wave to go through the cochlea. And so that's how it kind of hinders our hearing loss. A lot of times we find this is just taking place in one ear. It can be bilateral, but not usually. And so what happens is this is the pink area found in this picture, and you can see that it also goes all the way through my vestibular system. And so Meniere's disease can cause dizziness, nausea, unilateral hearing loss, unilateral tinnitus, where my vertigo usually only causes dizziness and nausea. Both can cause nystagmus. It's basically just a condition that goes along with dizziness. But in this situation, it was just better to get a close-up of the poster. So when you watch video 1, hopefully this clarifies some things that were hard to see.